Hi, very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Innovation Thursday. Today is the 24th of June, and our topic today will be operational streamlining. We have a really cool set of power owners here today to share with you their business challenges and how you can potentially help them to solve their business challenges. Okay, very good afternoon to all our friends who join us today. My name is Billy, and I'm very, very happy to be your MC for today. Today is the second edition of our Innovation Call 10 webinar, and it's going to be featuring problem owners talking about their business challenges on the topic of operational streamlining. Now, before I begin, I'd like to give everyone a very important public service announcement. Now, you can see there's a Q&A box right inside Zoom. So we will be taking your questions for each speaker using the Q&A tool in Zoom. All right, so if you have a particular question for a speaker, do make sure that you address your question to the speaker or the company, and then we'll do our very best to answer the questions at the end of every speaker's speaking slot. Now, of course, if we can't answer your question today, right, don't worry, we will follow up. You can actually follow up by asking a question on the OIP forum, the Open Innovation Platform forum that's on our website, www.openinnovation.sg. So once again, thank you for joining us today on this Innovation Thursday, brought to you by IMDA's Open Innovation Platform team, or OIP. Now, as you know, the OIP is a virtual crowdsourcing platform that bridges real business challenges or digitalization opportunities of companies with tech firms. So the challenges hosted on OIP, right, are supported by a structured innovation process, right? We include the refinement, curation, and the scouting of tech solvers. Now, problem owners will gain access to a diverse pool of solvers, both locally and regionally. Okay, allow me to do a dramatic pause here, just for effect. Okay, just to check that you guys are all, awake, because it's been a very, very lovely lunchtime. I think everybody needs a bit of an energy jolt. Okay, so as I was saying, right, we have, our business owners gain access to a diverse pool of solvers, both locally and regionally, while the tech solver firms, right, you receive capability support for evaluation and prototyping. Now, just allow us to recap. OIP was actually mentioned by our Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Heng Swee Keat, during the Budget 2021 speech. When he was talking about how we're going to boost innovation and digital transformation. Now, very, very soon, right, we'll be launching the features that he talked about. For example, the discovery engine, which will facilitate quick discovery of innovative solutions, as well as the digital bench, right, which will help to accelerate rapid prototyping of your solutions. And for today's webinar, we're very honored to have with us a few of our problem solvers. We include Anglis, the Investment Management Association of Singapore, IMAS, together with CSOP Asset Management, IMAS together with Fidelity International, and so there's our friends from Philtech, Boosted, and of course Ferrero. And plus, we have a special treat for you today, a special design thinking presentation by chemistry team. Okay, so it's quite an exciting range of challenges today across, the logistics sector, building and construction, asset management, fintech, as well as interactive toys. Now, once again, on behalf of IMDA, I'd like to thank everyone, right, both our problem solvers as well as our problem owners, right, for being committed to innovation and for being trailblazers in your industry. Together, I'm looking forward to the sharing, all right, by all our business owners, the problem challenges today. The business owners sharing their business challenges today, and what solutions they are possibly looking for from all the tech solvers in our community. And of course, OIP wouldn't be possible without you as the solvers and innovators. So do take this opportunity to get to know the companies and their business challenges, and also to connect with your fellow OIP community members, right, to work together on the challenges. And once again, a gentle reminder, please use our Q&A box that's within Zoom, right, to ask your questions for each speaker. Otherwise, we can also take your questions on the OIP forum available at www.openinnovation.sg. Okay, to officially kickstart today's session, I'd like to invite my colleague, Mr. Bay, to share us the video about OIP's latest Innovation Call 10. Take it away, Mr. Bay.
The Open Innovation Platform, now going through its 10th call, continues to accelerate digital innovation by matching business challenges to tech solvers. Offering a wealth of expertise and technology, our still growing pool of over 10,000 solvers has catalyzed many successful projects. In our 10th call, exciting new challenges abound, with problem owners looking for innovation in the fields of Solutions that leverage on the use of data and artificial intelligence. Streamlining their operations and taking them to new levels of efficacy and efficiency. Solutions applicable to digital platforms, and which tap on the latest and best technology available. With new and expanded sectors joining our ever-growing platform, new innovative opportunities and attractive rewards abound. In one of our biggest innovation calls yet, 27 challenges with more than $1.2 million in prize money await your solutions. More information is available at the Open Innovation Platform. Check out our website today.
Okay, cool. We do that. As you know, you can check out all the details of all the business challenges at www.openinnovation.sg. Now, allow me to share a little bit about OIP for the benefit of our new tech solvers in the community who have just joined us today for this seminar. Just give me a couple of seconds. Okay, did somebody leave their microphone on? Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick showcase about what OIP is all about. Okay, we host a series of business challenges posted by our problem owners on OIP, and we welcome the community of tech solvers, right, to take a look at all the business challenges and to submit your proposed solutions so that the business owners can consider your solution for potential prototyping and actual deployment, to solve their issues. So, just a quick update: we have a community of over 11,000 solvers in our tech solvers right in our community. We have offered over $7.1 million in prize money across all the challenges over the last 3 years since 2018. There have been a total of 2018 challenges so far and growing, because with every innovation call, we'll add to the count. And of course, we've already had 87 projects, right? They've already successful prototyping or a first round of testing. Okay, so this is just a quick flowchart of how the process works. So basically, I would encourage you to actually go on, sign up, and be a member of our Open Innovation Platform website, which is available at www.openinnovation.sg. And you can get to find more details about how you can submit, both as submit your business challenge as a problem owner, as well as submit your proposal for solutions as a tech solver. Okay, just a quick recap of some of the opportunities available to you once you join us and when you take part in the business challenges. Okay, get business opportunity. Of course, you have prize money. There'll be prize monies, offered for every challenge, and it goes to the winning finalists, right, of all the challenges. You also get support for the innovation process as well, and we also get the benefit of mentorship and community support. Okay, just a quick listing of some of the resources that you get. So you get access to innovation facilities. You get the benefit of a digital experience consultancy from experts. You get industry mentorship. You get support from our tech partners, and you also get market access opportunities. Okay, just a quick introduction of some of the innovation spaces you can benefit as a finalist in the OIP challenges. All right, so you can come to Pixel, which is where I am right now. It's the IMDA's Innovation Hub. You can also make use of Nanyang Poly's Digital Engineering Innovation Center, as well as ST Engineering's InnoSpark's Open Innovation Lab, right, to do your prototype and your testing and so on. Okay, we also have courses, workshops, right? Workshops and one-on-one coaching sessions, right? For companies that are finalists, and you can get to benefit from experts who will share with you the insights on design thinking, UI, UX, digital storytelling, as well as immersive experience, basically helping you, right, to design and to package your solutions better. You also get a benefit of tapping on, right, the experience, right, and the expertise of our industry partners. And this is just a sampling of some of them. And of course, right, for some of the tech solvers, right, who are startups, right, you have the opportunity, right, to be considered, for inclusion into two very special programs of IMDA, where we hope to grow the innovation system by, certifying startups, in terms of giving you accreditation, right, so that we can help you open doors to government contracts and bigger business projects. So I'm talking about, of course, the accreditation SGD scheme as well as the SGD Spark scheme. For more information about this scheme, so you can actually visit the IMDA website at www.imda.gov.sg. And here are a couple of success stories. You can find more of these success stories and all the mentions, right, on the OIP website, as well as look out for stories in the media that focus on some of the really cool stories that came out, the cool projects that came out from OIP. Just a quick recap. So when you join OIP and you end up as a finalist for some of the challenges, right? You get exposure to real business challenges, you receive mentorship and support, and you gain access to physical innovation and prototyping facilities. So all in all, it's a very good boost, right, for you if your projects are selected as finalists in the business challenges. Okay, so that's just a quick recap of the OIP. So basically, if you have a desire to know more, do visit the website once again at www.openinnovation.sg. Okay, I'm going to hand over the screen right now to my colleagues. As we move on to today's very first speaker, just let me check if our first speaker is joining us right. Oh, yes. Hi, Patrick. I believe you're here already, so I'm going to hand over to you. Just give me, I'm just going to do a quick intro for you. So our first speaker for today's webinar on operational streamlining comes from Anglis, and it's none other than Mr. Patrick Tay. He's the General Manager, Management Project of Anglis. And Patrick has a very interesting profile. I encourage you to read our event website profile of Patrick. He says that he's been marinated in the F&B world for more than 20 years, I believe. Patrick, so I think you're very well seasoned by now, a very well seasoned professional. So he started off as a chef, and then he moved on to a lot of interesting, diverse assignments at Anglis, right, including procurement and so on. And he has been serving all the customers, for many, many years, right? And his current portfolio, he's helping the company in its digitalization process. That's why he's here today to talk to us about the challenge. Just a quick background of Anglis. Anglis is touted as Singapore's leading food supply company, supplying the likes of meat, seafood, dairy products, fruits and vegetables, and even ready to eat and ready to cook food to over 3,000 customers in Singapore. So ladies and gentlemen, let's find out what Anglis has in mind for their business challenge, right? They're looking for an automated warehouse inventory system that can operate in sub-zero and low light environments, right? And which must integrate with its warehouse management system and ERP software. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Patrick Tay.
Hello. Can you hear me all right?
Hi, Patrick, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Earlier was having some typo error. Instead of 20 years, I typed 20 tears.
Oh, I thought you were making a pun, a joke.
Yeah. So, but in fact, it's actual. If you go on, if you know F&B world, it really takes a lot of sweat and tears.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a very tough and competitive business.
Especially in the restaurant world, the restaurant world providing food, trying to manage the kitchen, and then trying to do so many in the competitive world, right?
Yeah, can you imagine? That's why I say you're a very well seasoned professional, because you've been through all the cycles of the F&B business. Yeah.
Okay, so should I share my screen?
Yeah, sure. Patrick, I'd like to invite you to turn on your camera as well, because I think the audience is also dying to know how handsome you are, just like me.
Okay, brace. Don't freak out.
Okay, hi Patrick, welcome. You look great.
Okay, thank you. Let me turn on the share screen. Can see me?
Yeah, I can see you. We're also waiting for the screen to load as well.
Okay, you got it?
Okay, yeah, I can see your first slide already, Anglis. Yeah, you're still in the, I think the preview mode. You can see, yeah, I can launch your slides already. Yes, that's great.
Okay, got it. Okay, guys. So just I'll run you through what is Anglis about, and then I will tell you a bit about the problems, and then what we're hoping to get over, how we can get some support and solution from around the world and around Singapore. So here we are, Anglis Singapore, and we actually have a presence in Asia. And for Anglis Singapore, we have a presence in Asia, especially in China. Right now, China, we already have 21 distribution center. So of course, the Anglis China, they are also distributing product similar to what Anglis Singapore has to cater for. And our main portfolio is actually earlier what Billy had mentioned. We actually good in importing a lot of meats, all different kind of proteins, from the well-known Wagyu to the economical type of the beef at the local wet market. So those are what we do, and then we have the pork, the poultries, many more, the lambs. Okay, and then we go all the way for the category itself, we actually have more than 20 categories. So like I mentioned, in English China, we are actually having a similar kind of business model. Of course, given some of the political issues, and China may be not carrying some of the meat item, but other than that, the categories and other dairies product, China are in business providing solutions to hotel, restaurants, airlines, and bakeries, and places like that. So moving down from China, we have English Macau, supplies to casino, hotels, similar categories. And then here we have our Asia region office in Hong Kong. Hong Kong has been a very vibrant market for us, and we are doing a lot of supplies to similar segment in Singapore also, like the hotels and restaurant, hospitals, and airlines. So here come down the road, actually we missed out a bit of the map to point out that we are also in Malaysia, and we are now also in Vietnam. And then we will land back in English Singapore, where we are. So for English Singapore, our segment focus from the local kopitiam, the local kind of the mom and pop shop, all the way to a restaurant, to a Michelin star restaurant, to hotels, to old folk homes, to hospitals, covering basically island-wide, everything about food. And you can see our trucks flying everywhere. Total, we have about 50 trucks around the island making deliveries. So this is English Singapore. We are at Pandan Loop, just a bit off Clementi, if some of you who don't know where Pandan Loop is. Over to the left here is actually the main building where all the staff, we house about 200 staff here. Another 100 staff will be in some of the production house and the warehouse. And this is how our truck looks like. Okay, so here are the English warehouse. We have 1,900 ton of space, which is equivalent to about 6,000 pallets. And these boxes are actually now, chicken doesn't come in, doesn't have fur anymore. Those chicken come in boxes already. So the outsourced warehouse also consists of about 3,000 pallets. And we're being competitive, and then have to stay in line, and then we are supplying to so many government place and the hospital and airlines. So these are the certifications. Okay, in support of the business, we have total of 48 trucks making delivery of 1,900 drops point per day. So together with the 24-footer, so all in all, we have 50 trucks island-wide. Okay, as mentioned, our customer, so these are actually some of our customer with, I think estimate today is about 4,000. So our business is a very versatile kind of business model. Like given the pandemic now, although everybody are being hard hit, for English Singapore, we actually have other businesses, so we also able to still continue to serve some of the entities. Okay, in terms of product range, so supplier base, we have more than, definitely to date is more than 100 over supplier base, and some of the well-known brands, if you walk around NTUC, you will see some of the brands which is familiar to you. And then we also have some house brand. Each and individual categories carry different kind of branding and strategy. So that is why later I will also explain and say why is it important for us to have some solution, because some branding are actually being locked down by certain segment business, like the hotel. Some of the executive chefs, some of the Michelin star chef, they are so sensitive over some branding And the selection, it's not easy for them to really make one selection. They are going through a lot of evaluation before they make one selection of a beef cut. So the next round, if you happen to be at a well-known restaurant, you can ask a bit more about, why the chef really chooses that brand over the other brand. I think he can tell you, I think a good chef will tell you a lot of story about the choice that he made. Well, along my career, I think that's part of the fun thing, and also some learning journey, that how the chef really make that kind of decision, and how he really judge. Okay. Now let's talk about the problem, big problem. Okay, so with the island-wide network of F&B segment, right? We have a very quick movement in our warehouse with the product. So earlier, with a glimpse of the warehouse, that is just one lane of the warehouse with all the boxes side by side, right? And that area, right, that let me bring you back just now, that area. If for you who haven't seen a cold warehouse before, this is just one lane. And you see that forklift, that is right in the middle, is a forklift trying to bring down a pallet of certain item. It can be maybe a potato fries or something I can see. So this item, it was the movement of bringing down and replenishment and bringing down for distribution happens like 18 hours a day. So they are like working day in, day out just to make this. They are like playing jigsaw puzzle to bring down stuff, and just to make enable the picking and packing process complete in order for the truck to make delivery the next day. So we are pretty competitive in a way to say we are taking orders like right now before 5 o'clock. If you give me the order, I can make delivery to you tomorrow morning. So making restaurant to be able to make decision at the last minute. So like restaurant is having right now, after a lunch hour, they would have their meals, and then they would do a bit of their own stock check in the restaurant before they say, okay, I will make certain orders of this product and that product. So they will pass it to us, and we are going to make delivery for them in the morning. So that makes the whole warehouse go crazy over which item to arrange what first. Okay, after that, the warehouse, okay, you can see the warehouse having 6,000 pallet space, right? Obviously it's very huge. And then the requirement of the inventory system have to be very up to date. And then we have the third-party warehouse to manage. So the management of how many to transfer back is really playing a big part in this particular topic.
Hey, Patrick, sorry to interrupt, but I think we have only 1 minute more to serve the full dish of all your problems. So we can just expedite a little bit and then we move on to the Q&A. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, sure. So in a nutshell, with the huge capacity of the warehouse, how to provide accuracy of storage is really playing a big part here. So the current situation is just for you to understand, we have a solution, but it's pretty manual. We have the warehouse management system, but it uses some of the human intervention. So we are looking at how to have the below item, like the frequency of the stock data being pulled back as and when we want, and then there is this safety concern over how our personnel do this mass exercise of stock checkings, and then we want to avoid business downtime when we have all these checks. So solution provider should have in mind of this kind of the issues. Okay, last slide is just to say that we seek for robotic solution, and that's for safety is number one. So and then no downtime is the most important thing. So I may take some question if you have.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. We already have questions from the floor. So I'd like to start with questions from Mr. Terry Chu. I think he has 4 questions in a row. So his first question is, can you explain the warehouse management system and your enterprise resource planning systems in detail? How are they currently used, and where do you envision the new solution to fit in? Sounds like a tough question, Patrick.
Okay, so the currently we have this ERP solution. So ERP is taking in the orders, and then it is passing the information to warehouse. So this ERP solution doesn't complete the warehouse problem. It doesn't solve the warehouse problem. So we have this warehouse management system to help us by just taking in the movement of the stocks. But as I took over this role, we seems to start to realize that, okay, we have one problem of not able to get data as and when. So the warehouse management system still required some, I don't know, whether be it robotic or something to help us to get all the stock checks in place to fit into warehouse management system and then to Navision. But if let's say the solution provider comes back and say there is not required to have a WMS and can go straight into ERP, so we may explore. But at current, this is how I hope I answered the questions.
In case, I guess you are flexible in terms of the proposed solution. Like you can do away with you can do away with the WMS if it's not required.
You are correct.
Yeah. Okay, Ken. Second question from Terry is, do you need to know every single SKU or just the product category times by the number of quantity?
Every SKU will be definitely must have.
Okay, must have is every SKU. Okay.
Yes.
Third question from Terry. Is the packaging in standardized boxes with a label at the side or can come in any shapes and sizes? The packaging of your contents. Yeah.
Yes, this is a international incoming. So, but there isn't international sort of like standard from factory or from farm to warehouse. So it comes in different kind of sizes, and labeling has to be it come in different kind of labeling also.
Okay, so wow, all sorts of sizes and labelings. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, one last question from Terry before we move on to other questions. What is the process like from the moment you receive the goods until they're on the shelf? For example, do you use a forklift to transport the products for the delivery truck into the warehouse?
Yes. So we put away from containers. They truck in by a 20-footer or a 40-footer. So a WMS will take over the process of registering the incoming. So once the incoming been registered, then we will put away. The process of put away will happen. And we use the WMS as there is a scanner to substitute the handwritten processor. So scanner will take in the quantity and then put away into the warehouse bin.
Okay, that sounds like a very good description. Thank you, Patrick. Okay, I'll move on to a question from Ethan Go. And Ethan says it's from SICK, Sensor Intelligence, and they provide track and trace solutions. So Ethan's question is, has your team evaluated using RFID track and trace technology? If so, did they come up with any operational challenges when evaluating RFID?
RFID solution was proposed, but due to the cost. So in F&B nowadays, cost is the major issue because we also want to keep it low. So each RFID, the labeling is costing a bit too much for the product to be registered. So unless there is a new way of saying how the RFID can be mixed with a QR to hybrid and still maintain the cost to be low, then we can explore further.
Okay, so we know that cost is a very important factor in consideration. Okay, that's great. Okay, a question from Anonymous. Okay, please let us know which ERP system are you using. Is this confidential, Patrick?
Right now, we are using Navision.
Navision, okay, that's great. And one more question from Edmund. It says, what are the dimensions of your bins, shelves, and racks?
Wow, this is a tough question.
Yeah, maybe you can follow up separately on the OIP forum where you can give more details to Edmund.
Right.
Okay, Emil, I invite you to write in your question on the OIP forum at www.openinnovation.sg, and then we'll get Edmund and his team to follow up with you on your question, okay?
Yes, please.
Okay, I think that's all the questions we have. Oh, wait, we have just a couple more. Do we have time? May I just check my guys? Okay, so we'll just do one more question, and the rest of the questions, right, we'll take it offline on the OIP forum. Okay, I'll just have one more from, let's say Saga. Okay, what does a typical package look like? Is it transparent packaging with a barcode? How is stock taking done right now? Does someone go around scanning barcodes or pen and paper? Me can answer this, Patrick.
Right now we are using the QR scanner. So a QR scanner will be used to be scanned and input into, I mean, WMS will automatically capture that. So once it captured, then it will go into the ERP system. It will talk to ERP system. So because of the customer service is using the ERP system to churn out orders, the invoices. So that's why the end result has to go into a ERP.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. I hope that answered the question from the floor. Okay, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will move on to the next speaker, but I'd like to thank Patrick for giving us a very good presentation and as well as answering the questions. And once again, you can send Patrick your questions through the OIP forum at www.openinnovation.sg. Thank you, Patrick. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, our pleasure. Thank you. Okay, well, Patrick, I'd like to invite you to stop sharing your screen. Okay, Patrick, may I trouble you to release the screen so that we can move on to our next speaker? Thank you very much. Okay, I see myself on screen right now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the next challenge is presented by IMAS, the Investment Management Association of Singapore, together with CSOP Asset Management. So our next speaker is Mr. David Ng, Chief Operating Officer of CSOP Asset Management. And David joined CSOP as a COO in 2017, and he oversees trading, client solutions, risk management, operations, technology, and ETF strategy for the firm. He is responsible for designing and driving the infrastructure strategy of CSOP to support its business growth, as well as the development, and is also currently leading the digital transformation initiative for CSOP. Now, just a brief introduction of CSOP. It was established in Hong Kong in 2008, and it is the largest renminbi qualified institutional investor management in the market with global footprints across many regions. The challenge statement from CSOP is actually quite fascinating. It's how can high volumes, right, of non-standardized trades be processed, matched, and settled in a quick and accurate manner. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome David.
Thanks, Billy. I'm not sure you can see me on.
Oh yes, we can see you. Welcome, David.
Thank you very much for the warm welcome. Before I start the presentation proper, I also like to introduce my colleagues. We have our head of fund operations here, Mr. Zhuang Yuhang, who will also be helping me to answer some of that Q&A post the presentation, and we have also our head of middle office, Mr. Chao Dajin, with me as well. So to obviously get down to the Q&A, I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of questions and answers. I'll get, without much further ado, I'll get straight to the presentation. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Billy, is it visible?
Yes, I can see your screen. Efficient and scalable non-standard trade matching and settlement. Yeah, we can see you.
Thank you. So before we get down to the problem statement, I thought I would give the audience an introduction of obviously the firm itself. CSOP is an Asian-based asset manager that is headquartered in Hong Kong. I think a lot of people on the street know us as an ETF specialist. In fact, I think in Asia, we're probably one of the largest ETF issuers. Currently, our AUM stands at about $11 billion. So generally, we serve overseas investors that are looking to make investments in China. But in recent years, the strategy has obviously gotten more ambitious, and now we are trying to cover global strategies across the globe. And Singapore is one of this expansion outside of Hong Kong, where we have a full service office with full licenses. And last year, we did issue one of our ETFs here in Singapore, which also somehow became the largest ETF that's being issued here in the Singapore market, listed on the Singapore Exchange. So just to give you a little context, our business used to start pretty much plain vanilla, the stuff that is very simple for people to understand, like equities, bonds. Last year, the firm, as a result of strategy change, we started looking at the use of swaps or derivatives to start replicating some ETFs. And these swaps are actually traded OTC, over the counter, meaning that that usually means in finance terms it's non-standard. So generally there'll be basically a signal for very non-standard processes to help process or settle these trades. So just to describe the current trade settlement process for these derivatives swaps that we have started last year, generally it's broken down in 3 portions. There's part of where we have a trade confirmation, where counterparties that we execute trade with, we need to confirm the trades. And then once we actually confirm the trades, so there's the second part of the process, was the trade matching, where we try to match up the economics that we have entered into with our counterparties. And generally, there's quite a number of parameters that's used to price a swap, and all these could come in different forms across different banks, and each swap transaction can be bespoke. There could be changes in the financing rate, there could be changes in the underliers that we use to value the swap. We could also create swaps on multiple underliers. So it is. The combinations you can think of can be very varied. So the operations team obviously has a maker and checker system, obviously to make sure that all these parameters on the trade that we have entered into with counterparties are correctly matched, because this is actually extremely important for us, because obviously you think about a missing zero or additional zero in $1 billion notional trade, that could have significant consequences for the firm. And then coming to the last part, we have trade settlement. Once the trades are being matched, we check all the economics are all correct, and these are sent to settlement file formats to custodian for trade settlement. Again, we deal with multiple custodians because we are a large asset manager. So this could be also a very bespoke process, considering the file formats that we receive from counterparties could be varied. So all in all, a very lengthy process that the team does every day to reformat data to meet different needs of custodians, instruments, and markets. So the more manual process, the higher the risk of error. So again, like I said, the error can be costly. Sometimes it's time delay. Sometimes it could be a real financial loss to the firm. So now the problem statement. We are looking at how can these non-standardized trades be processed and matched and settled in a quick and accurate manner. So in the finance industry, generally a lot of the solutions that we see on the street tend to be geared towards a very vanilla products like equities, very standard processes, because it's easy to scale. And the thing is, you don't have to do a lot of combinations of the process itself. So the variables are less, it's very predictable, so they can be scaled. So basically, this results in a problem for us. In fact, from a firm perspective, 80% of our time is actually spent on these 20% of a very non-standard bespoke processes. So we are looking for a solution provider to help us think of a solution to help us process, match and settle some of these non-standardized trades in a quick and accurate and scalable manner. So what are we looking for? Currently, a working prototype solution that enables my operation colleagues to process volumes of unstandardized trades easily. Obviously, simplify the matching and settlement process, which I mentioned earlier, could be quite a pain because of the multiple parameters that we have to deal with and the multiple formats that we have to deal with across the counterparties that we trade with. And lastly, allowing real-time performance tracking, because like I said, a lot of these processes, there will be dependencies, and a lot of these matching and settlement process tends to happen at the end of the day after the trade is done. And because of that process to convert data into standardized formats, generally we aren't able to interact on a real-time basis with our counterparties if something is actually goes wrong until all that processes that I've just mentioned is all done. So the solution should match the following criteria, what we're looking for. One, an automated data extraction process and a standardized report generation. Obviously, like I said, different file formats. We want to analyze inbound file formats and extract data into a standardized format. And so that it's easier for the operations team to deal with when you're dealing with only one format. And then the output report should be customizable because we have multiple stakeholders that's looking to utilize the output from these data that we collect. Second thing, smart trade matching logic. Like I said, if you recall on part 2, step 2 of the process, we do a lot of trade matching, many parameters, and it could be different across counterparties. They're looking for a very quick way to do trade matching by via machine learning or algo AI to do the sorting, and sometimes, if possible, to help us fill up these parameters based on some of the learning that the model might have done, because, like I said, it is subjected to change very frequently. And then obviously allows the user to follow up on some of that matching issues that we may have, depending on the based on the trade priority and the sensitivity of the trade. Obviously, at this stage, the parameters on how to allow how to prioritize trades could be discussed. And then third, you're looking for a counterparty agnostic setup. Like I said, we deal with many counterparties. And obviously, each counterparty will have their requirements. The thing is, what we're looking for an onboarding system for our counterparties who's trading with us onto this system in a very seamless manner. And both counterparties and CSOP can initiate real-time trade requests and tracking trade matching and settlement statuses via one platform. And lastly, for our management purposes, we love to have a one-stop dashboard view to see what a very quick snapshot of incoming trades, the progress of our trades, and obviously and alert our colleagues and operations team to follow up on issues if needed. And the next one, and we would like to keep all the data footprint, the data tagging for all the trades that's come into our platform, because this could be used for analytics purposes later on and business reporting purposes later on. And the last point, this is nice to have. It's not necessarily a must, but because like we are an asset manager with Chinese heritage, so there may be instances where we'll be dealing with Chinese counterparties, and there could be the use of the Chinese language in some of these trade documentation that we work with. So if we have a Chinese glossary, or that would be really useful. That for some of these portion of trades that we may have to handle in the Chinese language. So what's in it for the solution provider? I think, like I said, we will award 20,000 of prize money for basically the winner of the solution of provider of choice that we will select, and of course we'll gain access to IMDA's technology resources and facility prototyping, and we will also have the opportunity to collaborate with IMAS, the Investment Management Association of Singapore, to reach out to the greater community for exposure, refinement, deployment. Because I believe this solution, if it is workable, it can be scaled. A lot of asset managers like ourselves will be looking to deploy the same solution. And lastly, of course, the opportunity to pitch to the industry audience in the IMAS Digital Accelerator 2021 program this year. So just to share with you some of the evaluation criteria that we will use to select the solution provider or the winner of the solution is that we first look at solution fit. I mean, the extent of the proposed solution, whether it addresses the problem statement effectively, and second point, the readiness, how ready is the proposed solution to go to market, and then if there's any evidence that this can be scaled. Some solution advantage, I think, like I said, we love to have a cost benefit analysis. If this is going to be a really cost effective of us in real terms, that will go a long way in helping us to choose the winner of this solution. And if it actually does make use of any new technologies in the market, and it can potentially generate new IP for us, that'd be great, because there's potential for this to be monetized. And of course, and if the solution can clearly articulate the top 3 key benefits that the solution will bring to the asset management industry, I think this will help go a long way, because this clearly means that the solution is scalable. across for asset managers at least. This is optional. We obviously we are not just looking for a proof of concept, and what we are looking for is that we can have a deployable product. So if the solution provider can provide some estimated cost for the pilot trial, deployment, and software support, if they manage to develop a workable solution that'll be useful, that could result in further ongoing contracts with CSOP itself to help support, develop, and maintain this product. So the product itself on a kind of company profile, obviously it's nice to have, but it's not a must-have. But it's something that we would like to use to evaluate the solution provider. Is that we're considering the product will have a user revenue traction. If the team members that is within the solution provider really possess the strong scientific and technical background, and particularly experience in the financial services industry, that would be particularly useful. And if the team actually has relevant clients or use cases that's really been deployed in the financial services industry, that will also be considered. And we obviously hope to work with teams that has a long-term view and looking to grow in Singapore. I think that will help to go a long way in terms of us selecting that particular solution provider. So I'll ask, I think the deadline for submission is 30th of July 2021. I guess this is common information. I think I'll just get straight to the Q&A for the audience. Thanks, Billy.
Thank you, David. I think the audience is ready for your Q&A. I understand that your colleagues have, Yu Hang has already been helping to answer some of the questions. He has typed in his replies already, so we won't take all those questions that Yu Hang has already tackled. But I'd like to move on to a question from Kimberly Lee. And Kimberly says, hi, David, thank you for sharing. Kimberly is from STACS, Singapore FinTech company. She says, can we understand a little bit more about the types of systems, order management systems, etc., that CSOP is using, which you see as key for integration in the solution you're looking at? Also, would you be able to share examples of our main counterparties that you interact with?
Yeah, maybe I'll let Yu Hang or Dajin take that question.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Yu Hang here. I can take the questions. Yeah, so we do use different order management systems. I think the most predominant one that most people will be familiar with is Bloomberg IMS. We also have another vendor system that we're using at the moment, that's EasySoft. So the trades should come down, should be able to accept trades from both. It should also be, in a sense, OMS agnostic, in a sense we can build the trade feeds from different OMS systems, so that we can bring in our own trades that represents our parts of the trades, and then the other side will represent the broker dealers trades. So then we bring both self data for reconciliation. And then in terms of the counterparty that Stacy asked, who's our counterparties, is mainly there's a mix of international brokers as well as Chinese-based brokers. So big names, I think we are all familiar with all the big banks, the big investment banks. Those form quite a big portion of our counterparties. But I also mentioned we have some local Chinese counterparties as well.
Yeah, thank you, Yu Hang. You've been busy answering a lot of questions, I see. Okay, Andrew Tan has a question, and he says that any possibility of bringing all your various partners, including custodians, into a network? And he also adds on that this problem is a typical good use case for decentralized solution. And he follows up with, if you have the influence power to bring in all your partners, right, including custodians, Andrew says that he can build a network that can work. What do you guys say to Andrew?
Yeah, I think that would be very ideal. Frankly, if we can reach that state, I think that is almost a very innovative leader approach. But at this stage, we do see there'll be a lot of challenges because bringing different custodians and different counterparties on board is something that's not just offering a solution. It also takes negotiations and it's kind of pitching an idea. So I wouldn't say that that's an immediate step we're looking at. I don't see that happening easily. So I think right now we want to be able to make sure that the solution works for us first before we look into that. Yeah.
I'll add to Yu Hang's answer. I mean, obviously, we will be very keen to look at that as well if obviously the solution provider, I think in this case, Andrew has that solution. But just to add the point, I'm not saying that it's difficult, but it's not impossible. In fact, we do have a platform that we operate ourselves, that we have influenced our partners to get on board into the platform, because if they want to do business with us, they will have to be on that platform. So that's and the platform I'm talking about specifically is dealing with the creation and redemption of our ETF products. So yes, it's possible, but I think like what you guys mentioned, it's not what we're looking for at this stage. But nonetheless, depending on the potential of this product, I'm also hoping to monetize it.
Okay, thank you guys. I think we have time for one more question to be answered live, and then I can invite Yu Hang and team, right, to type in the answers to the rest of the questions. Right, I believe this question will be quite important. From Josh Kettlewell. Josh is saying, "Hi David, are you looking for an on-premise or a cloud solution?"
Well, I'm not partial to being on-premise or cloud solution, but I think if you actually caught on to what I said earlier, we would love to do some data analytics of this platform. So, I mean, presumably, if this is going to go in a big wave with many counterparties on a platform, I think operating on a cloud solution will be a lot more scalable. And then at the same time, brings in other problems of privacy.
That's a very good point. I tell you what, I'm going to answer one. I think we should answer one more question from the floor before we get Yu Hang and team to answer behind the scenes. This comes from Sheena Ang. I think the question is CSOP intending to be the operator of the platform? What do you guys say?
Well, like I said, if the economics is right, we have done this before. So we are keen. We will be happy to be the operator of this platform because if it provides benefits to our business in a big way, and there'll be facilitates our business, we'll be more than happy to be the operator of the platform, because I think we do have enough influence, at least in the ETF space, to have some of our partners working with us.
Okay, thank you very much, and that concludes our Q&A for CSOP. Thank you very much, David and team, including Yu Hang. And I will seek your cooperation to help us answer the rest of the questions using the Q&A chat format. Thank you very much, Thank you, David. It's been a great presentation, and we look forward to seeing some really cool submissions for your challenge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Billy. Thank you.
Okay, what an exciting Q&A we've been having during this webinar. Up next, we're going to move on to our next speaker for today, and we're going to move back to the world of logistics. The topic will be Industry 4.0 Warehousing Center Operations, and the company is Philtech. It's my pleasure to introduce the next speaker. Is Jamie Neo. She's the marketing manager of Philtech, and Jamie says that she enjoys building brands and thinking of viable solutions to develop businesses. And her biggest responsibility right now, overseeing the digital marketing direction of Philtech, is to design and produce digital content that accelerates the business momentum and better engage the customers. And you might not know, but Philtech is a subsidiary of the Sung Ag Group. Okay, and the Sung Ag Group, right, has a long history in Singapore. It specializes in supplying a wide range of heavy-duty automotive spare parts, and its history is more than 50 years. Okay, so its products are all they are dedicated to manifold industries and have established itself regionally in more than 40 countries. And Jamie's will be sharing on Philtech's business challenge, which is what they envisioned for a proposed centralized warehouse operation system that can deliver a seamless order to delivery process flow. It's now my great pleasure to invite Jamie to speak about her business challenge. Welcome, Jamie. Hi, Jamie. I'm just gonna look around for Jamie to start her presentation. Hi, Jamie, do you need our technical assistance? I can send you my mental telepathy, hoping to send you some positive energy that your Windows will work. Okay. All right, maybe we can just get a signal from Jamie. Jamie, is everything all right? Just bear with us. Maybe we're going to help Jamie with a technical issue. Yeah. Jamie, if you can just let us know, we can actually run the slides from our end, and then you can just speak and tell us to advance the slide.
This is Desmond. I see her
hi,
have a
Desmond.
hard time to unmute.
Oh, okay.
I see from the screen is she have a hard time to unmute.
Okay.
Maybe sorry for.
Well, if she needs a bit more time, actually we can actually we can just reschedule the program a little bit. No issues. Yeah, just let us know. Thanks, Desmond, for chiming in. Yeah. Yeah, it could be it appears to be a Zoom software issue. Yeah.
He texts me and saying the Zoom is hang.
Oh, Zoom is hang. So maybe she needs to reboot the Zoom. Okay. In that case, may I be so bold as to check if our next presenter is ready to jump in and rescue Jamie? Keith, are you there, Keith?
Hi, guys.
Hi, Keith. Are you all ready for your special presentation?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you. So we're gonna give Jamie a bit of buffer for her to reboot her Zoom and everything. So I'd like to invite Keith to start. So Keith, just allow me to introduce yourself. Introduce you to our audience, right? Because they haven't met you yet. Actually, neither have I. Okay, right. First time meeting you. Nice to meet you, Keith. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna jump ahead to a special presentation because I believe that Jamie from Philtech is having a bit of a technical issue for Zoom, so we're gonna give her some buffer time to reset the computer and so on. So we'll just push the presentation to just a little bit later. In the meantime, we have a very special presentation by Keith Wong from Chemistry team, and Keith, I understand, is a senior business and experience designer from Chemistry team, and Chemistry is now an adult, I believe, right? Keith is now 21 years old, an experience design consultancy based in Singapore and Amsterdam, and driven by an international team of multidisciplinary creatives. Ladies and gentlemen, just like that you know that Keith and his colleagues actually support IMDA's community of innovation companies, right, by facilitating design thinking workshops and coaching sessions. And today is a very special deal for you guys. Okay, Keith is going to offer you tips for tech solvers, right? Offering you tips on how to ensure that your submission proposal, right, has a higher chance of winning the business challenge that you're gunning for. So Keith, are you ready? Please take it away.
Okay, let me just check if you guys are seeing the right screen.
Yes, I see the OIP Innovation Thursday sharing consultant insights.
All right, and it's in a full screen mode, right?
Yeah, it's a full screen mode. That's right.
Perfect. Okay, so hi
take
everyone.
It away, Keith. Thank you. Yeah.
I see a lot of familiar names. With like Billy mentioned, Chemistry has been working with the OIP team from IMDA, and we've been interacting with quite a couple of the problem owners that are currently on the panel for today's sharing, as well as tech solvers, and it's part of the ongoing collaboration between Chemistry and IMDA. Maybe just give me a moment to introduce Chemistry. So as Billy mentioned, we were founded in the year 2000, and really today we have become an experience design consultancy. So primarily speaking, using human-centered design to create solutions that create value for our clients and their users as well. Here we have our headquarters in Singapore. You might have seen this building along near Arab Street or Bugis area, and we recently opened our Amsterdam office 2 years ago. Yeah, and like I've mentioned, we really put the user at the heart of everything that we do. So no matter what the challenge is or what the output is intended to be, we are really focusing on the fundamental human-centered approach of design, starting with the end user in mind, designing for the people who are actually going to use the solution. And definitely we've worked across different industries and sectors, from big names like Visa, Dell, and Samsung, all the way to government agencies, as well as SMEs and startups as well. So what we've been doing with IMDA, I can cover a little bit more in detail in the next 2 slides, but we've been working with different startups, with different SMEs in project-based coaching, whether it's design thinking or UI UX design. We've done workshops and webinars, and here I'm going to share with you today my perspective about writing better proposals, specifically for IMDA OIP. Yes, so this is me. I'm a senior business and experience designer. So my primary focus is connecting the desirability and the feasibility of a product or solution or an idea to the business viability or the business challenge at hand for the problem owner. And I think that's a very important thing, right? We may uncover the pain points from the users, and we may create something that is desirable. But what's important is that the solution is technically feasible, right? You have the right resources and abilities to create it. And not only must it be feasible, it must actually be business viable. So it has to make economic sense. It must help the client reach a certain business objective. And that's primarily my role as a business designer. I bridge the business model of a new solution to meet the business objective of the client. And here, I think I just want to touch on these 4 things, right? So between chemistry and IMDA, we are primarily engaged through these 4 formats. I'll just go through them really quickly. So from business discovery and business design, here we would meet a client and we would understand exactly kind of like the ecosystem, right? Who are the stakeholders within this ecosystem, whether it's internal departments or external partnerships. From there, we're identifying the key capabilities of said company, what technologies they have, what processes they have in place, and we are getting a landscape overview of the challenges and opportunities at hand. At this stage, at the business design and business discovery stage, you may have a host of challenges, a host of opportunity areas that you want to work on to improve your business. And it is at this stage we start to prioritize which are the most high value and which makes the most sense for the problem owner. And then we move into the second column, which is the problem refinement of the OIP challenge specifically. So of the 5, 10 opportunities you may have uncovered from business discovery, we scope into 1, 2, or 3, and we go through a problem refinement workshop. So here I interact very closely with the problem owners and really try and understand what exactly is the pain point, who is being affected and why. We will talk a little bit about the current solutions being put in place and why there are gaps there, what are the challenges and what are the shortfalls of existing solutions. And from there, we scope and refine the challenge as well as the solution requirements for the problem solver. So just now when CSOP did their sharing, they broke it down to what we are looking for. That's exactly what we do at problem refinement. We identify exactly what we are looking for. And then from here, problem solvers take on this challenge brief, right? You look at the brief and you create your proposals and you submit them. Once you've been selected, you go through a KPI setting and road mapping session with myself and with the problem owners. And in this session, basically the problem owner and problem solver are trying to reach an alignment of what the actual scope of OIP is, what the KPIs and deliverables are. More importantly, my role in this particular section is really to try and identify the dependencies and risks of the proposal, and then talk through with both the problem owner and problem solver how to mitigate and what strategies we can come up with to ensure that your proposal actually meets the needs of the problem owner. And then lastly, from Pixel, we do design thinking and UI UX project-based coaching. So for example, if you have a solution in mind already and you want to improve the user experience of it, or you want to understand how it would benefit the users, we will help you through your design research, your information architecture, your design systems, and we'll go through co-creation sessions with you guys to improve the user experience of your product. So these are the 4 engagements of which chemistry are involved in. And in the next couple of slides, I'm going to share some high level or general tips for tech solvers and how you can be more targeted in your proposals. And obviously, within OIP, they have like tens of thousands of challenges, and different challenges require different proposals. So these are kind of all the learnings that we've had since our collaboration and condensed into something that's relatable to all sorts of challenges. Okay, first up, and I think this may be stating the obvious, but it is an extremely important point to re-emphasize, right? The first point is answer the brief. So here, it's important to know that problem owners, I feel, based on my interactions, are not very picky about the technology. It is more important for them to know that their problem will be solved, and you can solve it by going multiple different directions. So here, they're not looking for a specific solution. They're looking for a set of solutions to answer their challenges, to answer to their pain points. And therefore, it is extremely important for your proposal to directly address these needs and challenges. So if you look on the image on the right, actually, this is the English challenge brief that we did, that Patrick was sharing. Like in the challenge brief, we would state very clearly what the challenge areas are. So for example, optimizing human interventions, right? So currently it takes a lot of manpower, resources, and time to do their stock take in the warehouse. That's a big resource that they want to reduce and optimize. The second one being automating the stock taking process to have accurate and real-time count of their stock. And the third is an intelligent system that can conduct data analysis. So here within the challenge brief, we will scope out the challenge areas and talk about exactly what kind of outcomes the problem owner is trying to achieve. And this may not be 100% comprehensive for sure, but as there is, I feel that there is definitely a lot of detail here, and it is important for tech solvers to really try and answer these points. So like I think here the concluding point for this first tip is that you, as proposal writers, you need to put yourself in the reader's shoes, right? So even if you have a very impressive technology or a very impressive solution, but if you do not articulate or elaborate on how that technology can address the pain point, right, it makes it very hard for the problem owner to contextualize or imagine your solution to be able to help them. So you can have very impressive technology, whether it's blockchain or AI, but you need to break it down. You need to break that technology down so that you can contextualize that to the reader and the problems that they are facing. So it's really just matching what you're saying to what they want to hear. And I think that's a really important step, even though it may be very obvious. And I think that leads me to my second point, right? Like, it is extremely important for your proposal to show technical strength. There are proposals that lack in technical strength, and they will often be rejected. So you cannot have you should avoid saying high-level statements about your technology. In fact, you should actually dive deeper. You should go into detail and be comprehensive about the strengths and even the weaknesses of your technology, how your technology is applicable to the challenge at hand, and what are the considerations the PO must have when selecting your proposal. So if you look on the table on the right, so this is an example of a part of a proposal from a solution provider, right? They are talking about dual camera. They're talking about positioning lasers, right? And here, this is an example of a very good summary of your technical strength. For each tech solution, for part of the problem, what it solves, right? And what are the advantages of this technology? What I really love is the trade-off column. They are considerate enough to tell the problem owner that this technology is great in certain things, but what are the considerations or shortfalls of this technology? And therefore, what must be put in place to mitigate those trade-offs? So this is one very brilliant way to show that you are very aware of your technicals, of your technology, and you're very aware how your technology can benefit the problem owner while telling them and being transparent, okay, there are considerations that we must think about, but we can help you work through these considerations. And I think this is an example of how you show your technical strength. So I think in summary of this point, go into detail about your technology, be comprehensive about the strengths, and bonus points will go into the considerations of your technology. What are the trade-offs? I think this is a very beautiful summary of how you can really show problem owners that you are putting them in the heart of what you do, you're answering to their needs, but also helping them consider external influences or external factors that may affect the project. So this is tip 2. Okay, tip 3. And this one, I also see that some proposals don't do this enough. One, you've already talked about the technology that you're good at. Then in my second point, you elaborate on how that technology is advantageous or disadvantageous. But what we want to do here is I want to remind everyone that problem owners, like I've mentioned, they are looking to solve their problems. And even if they have a type of technology in mind, most problem owners are actually very open to new and novel applications of different technologies that they have not thought about. I'll give you an example. So like I've mentioned, we were working through with Anglis about the warehouse challenge. Like mentioned, like Patrick mentioned, they have considered RFID because of the cost. And then they were talking about camera vision and maybe using video analytics to track the movement of goods in and out of the warehouse. And then we were talking about using IoT sensors and putting them on the racks to calculate the weight and the delta of the weight to account for movement of logistics. So here, I think my point here is that even if your technology is not something that was explicitly written in the challenge brief, or it's not a conventional way to solve the challenge within the challenge brief, if you as the domain expert, you believe that your technology have this novel use case, actually I can pivot my technology to solve this challenge, I think those proposals are definitely welcome as well, because this is already outside of the box realm. But once again, it goes back to the first 2 points, right? Talk about the strengths of your technology, talk about why it is applicable, even though it's outside of our imagination. So don't be afraid to contextualize and reapply your technology and present that as a proposal. Problem owners are definitely open to that. But I think the more important point here is that you need to elaborate on the approach, especially if it's a novel application of a technology. So how are you going to go about applying this technology, and how are you going to solve that problem through that technology? So here, as you can see, just 2 very high level ecosystem of solutions that talk about, okay, these multiple solutions and technologies can come in place, the interaction points, and how they overcome different challenges. And I think giving this kind of overview of a map and then having a write-up about your approach helps the problem owners, once again, contextualize the strengths of your technology and help them understand, okay, if it is applied this way, that will solve my problem. And I think that's what you're trying to convince, or what you're trying to convey to the problem owners. So yes, really talk about the approach of your solution. That's point 3. Point 4, and I think this comes from our bias as a human-centered design consultancy. We definitely want you guys to practice to, once again, consider the reader, right? So apart from demonstrating your technical strength, and you can use all the jargons you want, the important thing for your proposal is that it still has to remain human-centered. It still has to be digestible by a non-technical, non-expert reader. The proposal must be relevant to the problem owner's context. And how you do that, really, the most effective manner is creating user journey or user stories for your problem owners and illustrate how that proposed solution will be used by a specific persona type, a specific user who experiences the pain points, and walk through that journey with them. And
I'm sorry to interrupt, Keith. Yeah. I'm afraid I have to expedite your user journey just a little bit more because we're running a little bit out of time. So maybe I'll give you another 2 minutes to wrap up.
Can.
Sorry about that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I just want to highlight at the top right of the screen, some of the proposals will show the user journey for the employee and for the supervisor. So if you have multiple users who experience the challenge, show the user's journey and story. Okay. Last tip: go beyond the brief. Very few challenges exist in silos. So if it's warehouse, it's not just the warehouse, but it is also about procurement practices. It's also about saving costs. It's about manpower. So if your solution or if your technology can answer the main challenge, that's already great. But what gives you bonus points is if you talk about the future scope. What's beyond the current OIP? What are possible integrations? What are possible growth areas? This gives the problem owner a roadmap to how your solution can be the foundation of a larger system of solutions. And that's why it's a plus point. So demonstrating a system thinking view will definitely benefit your proposal. And here's my last slide. It's really a quick summary of your general tips, right? Make sure you don't resubmit the same proposals you have submitted before. It's like applying for a job, right? Tailor-make your proposals for specific challenge briefs. If you repeat your proposals, very likely they won't be selected because it's not targeted, it's not specific. And then clearly articulate the values and benefits, as I've mentioned. Create user stories to help problem owners envision your solution. And I think here are the general tips. And I think if that's all the time I have, this is the sharing. So are we doing Q&A? Or
I think right now there aren't any Q&A, but we can take it on the Q&A chat later on. I can alert you, Keith, if we find more questions for you. But in the meantime, thank you very much for your 5 very, very important tips for our problem solvers. I believe this will help them to craft their proposal submission a little bit better, with a higher chance of winning the challenge. Thank you, Keith. Very, very valuable advice, and I especially like the fact that you tell them. Tell our problem solvers not to resubmit the same proposal for different challenges. I think that's a very good advice. Thank you very much. Thank you, Keith. And ladies and gentlemen, back to our third speaker of the day. It's going to be, let's see, it's going to be Jamie. Jamie from PhilTech. Jamie, are you back online already? Jamie, a marketing manager from PhilTech. Just going to check if Jamie is ready to present on PhilTech's business challenge, which is Industry 4.0.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Sorry for the glitch earlier. Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, you can take it away, Jamie. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Neal from PhilTech.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the glitch earlier. So I'll just dive right into our presentation. So I'm representing Sunit Group, and I'm gonna share with you our third 5-year plan, which focuses a lot on digital transformation. So before I begin with the problem and all that, maybe I'll briefly introduce you Sunit Group. So we have a history of more than 50 years, as what Billy has already shared. We have presence across more than 40 countries, with our main presence in ASEAN, where we work very closely with our strategic partners, our established distribution centers, and also our franchisees. So our business structure comprises of the automotive division and industrial division. So basically we distribute industrial and automotive spare parts. So each division we have our distribution, retail, and servicing channels. So today we will focus more on the digital initiative created by the industrial division, where we supply filters, spare parts, consumable products, and we also recently ventured into the life science products, catering mainly to the mining, power generation, construction sector. So as you can see, this illustrates our global sales distribution, where we have more than half of our sales from Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia, and then a quarter from the rest of Asia, and then the remaining from Oceania, especially where we work very closely with our strategic partner. So I think this is where I should emphasize more on the problem. So we have categorize the problem for our customers as well as for our business. So we have identified during our second third year plan that we actually want to reduce the hours we take to serve our customers, where they face pain points such as long waiting time, not sure of whether the supplier actually has the products that they want, and the need to actually keep cross-referencing products to look up for product alternatives. And so we actually created this portal called the OES. It's in short for Online E-Services Portal. So our customers can actually go in there and self-help themselves. With this portal, it actually also helps our business to reduce our customer service and sales team spending too much time on serving all of our customers, where with this portal now they can actually focus on higher payoff activities such as growing the existing pool of customers, as well as growing potential leads. So basically with OES, it's very fast and easy for our customers to place their orders. They can also actually monitor the delivery status, cross-reference alternative products, and they also have a dashboard where they can actually have a glance of all their back order reports and stuff like that. We also grant them multiple user access per company, and they can, because it's a web-based portal, they can access the site anytime and anywhere they are. So it's very easy for us to serve overseas customers. So with this OES portal, it has actually helped us to create a digital experience for our customers, as well as increase operational efficiency within our own internal departments. So we also have our own ERP system called the Sage ERP Pro 500, which we have actually acquired the source code a decade ago. So currently our IT team, our in-house IT team, they are the ones maintaining and enhancing the ERP to suit our needs. So since 2020, that's the beginning of our third 5-year plan, right? So for this year, the second year of our third 5-year plan, we actually prototyped our very own WMS. So this WMS is still work in progress, where it now only helps us to manage our delivery jobs. So it doesn't actually help us with the picking and packing process at the moment. But yeah, we are looking at that after we have focused other sectors of this project, because the picking and packing, they are still rather manual, and it's pretty hard for us to digitize this process at the moment, because for spare parts, we actually carry a lot of small little items that it's very hard for us to put barcodes and RFID onto these products. So yeah, but we are definitely very open to any solutions that can actually help us to solve this problem. As for CRM, we actually have a few inbuilt features available on our OES internal portal that is catered for our CS, our customer service and sales team, to monitor their sales performance and sales pipeline. So just last quarter, we actually also outsourced the last mile delivery segment to a solution provider called D-Track. So right now, the WMS and D-Track, it's currently integrated together with the OES and ERP for us to manage the delivery jobs, as well as retrieve the proof of deliveries from D-Track. So here it's basically us trying to integrate our digital assets all together to form a supply chain hub that we are looking at in the future at the end of our third 5-year plan, which is 2024. So our goals, as I've mentioned, by the end of 2024, we plan to leverage on our global distribution network, where we can actually introduce not only OES, but also our WMS, our ERP system, and the CRM to all of our strategic partners, our established DCs, and our franchisees. So yeah, so that's what we are looking at by the end of 2024. So as you can see from the screen over here, I'm not sure if you can see. So it's basically an example of a customer searching for a part number, and they are able to see the stock inventory from all our different locations, the price, the COO, and the stock availability. So that's what we are trying to achieve by the end of 2024. So here comes our problem statement. How might we actually build an integrated warehouse operational process to increase the visibility of our operations across departments? Here, I would like to emphasize or actually rectify that departments not only mean internal departments within our own company, but it also means departments across all our other subsidiaries, divisions, franchisees, DCs, and strategic partners, so that information is all transparent and integrated together in one single source of truth. So what are we looking for in this solution set that we want to take away from this project is to have a centralized inventory management and database, which I have mentioned that we really need to consolidate all of our inventory data and documentation, especially from procurement, sales, and warehousing into one centralized database. That's because a lot of our strategic partners, they are not actually using our own ERP system. For OES, the WMS, and D-Track to work, we actually need to rely on the database provided by our ERP, our Sage ERP system. Whereas for the case of our strategic partners, because they are not using Sage ERP, it is very hard for us to integrate the database onto OES, and it henceforth very hard for us to launch OES in these different regions. So because they're using different ERPs, the parameters of how the information is stored and the information architecture, they're all very different, and it's very complex for our in-house IT team to continuously suit the needs of every subsidiary that we have or every strategic partners that we have. So what we're looking for is a solution to integrate everything regardless of the ERP or the database that our other partners have, and so as to provide one single source of truth. So for data exchange and integration, we are looking for a seamless flow of information. It could be through EDI tech or other AI capabilities, and this should actually help to streamline our progress of orders, all the way from product searching to order creation, and then processing the orders. And then when we want to buy the product, it should go all the way to forecasting of orders and also the procurement process. So we're looking at having real-time inventory updates as well, where we can have absolutely transparent communication across all companies and to the customer who will be using or will have access to our OES customer portal. And we also like to have this incoming and outgoing stock tracking feature where our sales and CS, they are able to monitor closely the movement of goods so that we won't always have to check with the procurement team or other subsidiaries where the goods are. Sales can actually view where the goods are at different locations. Even if it's from a different country, they're able to view the relevant information. As for predictive inventory demand, we are actually looking at relying on the information that we have actually collected all these years with our ERP system. We definitely haven't been putting them into great use because I think we have not gotten the tech capabilities where we are able to use this historical data to assist us to make more informed decisions for procurement, for order forecasting, as well as procurement lead time and stuff like that. As for the payment gateway, because this entire project, right, we also want to provide a very seamless, very easy buying experience for our customers. So right now, our OES is lacking at the invoicing part because we have yet unable to merge the invoicing and payment together with OES. From OES to the ERP system. So right now, order creation and product search is have already been digitized with the OES. However, for to ship out the items on our ERP and to invoice the items, it still can only be done on our ERP system. So because we can't find the link and how to sync the data or the transaction reconciliation. So we definitely need to work on this area over here where we have the payment gateway and then help to reconcile the orders and account transactions seamlessly. Yeah, so these are the 6 important features that we're looking at. And so what's in it for the problem solvers that will be participating in this project with us? We will be offering the prize money of SGD 30,000 for the winner of this challenge. And the same thing, you'll be able to have access to IMDA's resources. And we are definitely very keen to open up this opportunity with the problem solver to become either the co-developer or supplier for us to commercialize this solution. We actually have seen this entire project that we have already built as another revenue channel together with our shared services for the group. So we are definitely keen to commercialize this solution. So so that's what's in it for our problem solvers and how we'll be evaluating you. So we'll be looking at how you actually help to address the problem statement that we have stated before and how ready your solution is. Because as I've mentioned, we are trying to attain our goal by the end of 2024. We'll see if that suits our timeline as well and whether it can actually help to scale our business. We don't want the solution to be too customized to only suit FieldTech and then unable to scale across our companies that are located elsewhere in overseas. And then for solution advantage, we'll definitely see whether it's cost effective, whether it's truly innovative, if you are using new technologies in the market, and whether it can potentially generate new IP. This is where we are looking at for commercializing the solution. And if applicable, we are also looking at the estimated cost for the pilot trial, deployment, and software support. Even though we have our own in-house IT team, And for the company profile, we will definitely be interested to understand your user and revenue traction and whether your team has strong technical background. Yeah, so the deadline we're looking at also on 30th July, 24 hours. And yeah, so that's all I have in our presentation, and I'm open for any questions from the audience.
Hi, Jimmy. Thank you very much there for your presentation. A very, very in-depth and very, very comprehensive explanation of what you're looking for. I believe there was one question from James Chan, and I believe Desmond, your colleague, has already answered, but I can always bring it up again. James Chan actually asked, why build when there are solutions like JDA software that offer end-to-end integration of inventory management, warehouse management, transaction management, and accounting? And that was a question from James Chan. I believe Desmond answered that you all wish to have an all-in-one solution, including your overseas office. Can you confirm that, Jamie?
Yeah, it's not only, yes, that is one of the main reasons, but we are also looking at a solution that can be applied across all of our subsidiaries. We don't want to have, when we actually meet all these vendors, the solution that they provide is very customized to just suit our needs. And then when we want to add on features and other functions, there's additional costs that, we don't want to get implied into. So that's where we realize that actually our IT team can do so, and why not rely on their talent to build such capabilities. And for the past 5 years, we have actually already gotten a lot of great feedback from the OES system, both for the internal portal and customer portal. So yeah, we are definitely still open to outsourcing the solution like how we have for the last mile delivery, but it's really dependent on whether the solution can be duplicated across our DCs and strategic partners.
Okay, I hope that answered the question of our member of the floor. We have one more question. There's one more question from the floor, and this is from Anonymous, and it says, with all your different components, which would be the priorities, the features that you prioritize? Jamie or Desmond?
So I guess you are asking for one out of these 6, is it? So I would guess it's more of this part over here, the centralized inventory management database. It's very hard for us to have effective communication within our own department as well as with our strategic partners. Because of the global distribution network that we have established ourselves, it has become one of our core strengths and niche to actually make ourselves attractive to our principals and also to the government bodies. So to actually have our data being duplicated or our processes being duplicated across all of our global companies, it will actually be very important for us to attain our goal, which is to create a global supply chain hub.
Okay, that is a very, very ambitious plan, but I think it's going to work very well for you. There's one more question, and I think we should take it. For the prototype development, would the distribution centers or warehouses be in Singapore, or will it include a global market? So probably your overseas, subsidiaries.
It depends on the solution itself. So for the OES solution the digital initiative OES that we have created ourselves, of course, we first launched it in our headquarters, which is located in Singapore, and then we beta test it in our DCs first. And now that they are working fine, then we will multiply across all of our strategic partners as well. So yes, for this prototype development, we will first start off with Singapore and then to the global market. So eventually it has to reach out to the global market.
Okay, thank you, Jamie. Can I ask one last question from myself, a very layman question. Why do you stipulate the year 2024? Why not earlier?
Why not earlier? Okay, so our in-house tech team is currently comprises of three programmers at the moment. So we are pretty short-handed, and there are a lot of digital initiatives that we have actually been working on for this past half of the year. So yeah, looking at the timeline, we are quite tight. So we're looking at 2024, but with the support from ESG, IMDA, and also other unis that we're working with, we hope to actually expedite this entire project.
Okay, thank you. I think Desmond will answer the last question, so I think we can actually call it a day. Thank you very much, Jamie and Desmond, for helping to present to our audience. Wish you all the best. I think you have a lot of submissions for your business challenge. Thank you very much, Jamie and Desmond from PhilTech. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to our next speaker. It's going to be Mr. Muhammad Khalil, Senior Digital Delivery Manager from Busted Project E&C. And the business challenge is going to be something very, very complex. It's called BIM, which I understand it stands for Business Information Modeling, right? A unified dashboard for workflow optimization. And I'd like to introduce Muhammad. Muhammad is a firm believer in technological solutions and innovative workflow, right? He says he's keeping himself constantly ahead of exponential technologies in the effort to increase productivity in the construction industry. And right now, Khalil is overseeing the digital transformation of Busted Projects E&C, and he's setting up a roadmap and also integrating work processes at the operational and management level. And just a brief description of Busted. It is a progressive global infrastructure-related engineering and technology group. So the business challenge they're looking at is basically looking for an integrated data platform with on-site data collection mechanisms that can translate real-time data into BIM data models. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Khalil. Muhammad Khalil, please take it away.
Thank you. Thanks, Billy. Thank you, IMDA, for this opportunity. I believe everyone can hear me. So just allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Khalil. I'm the Senior Digital Delivery for Busted Project. Today here with me, I have my colleagues, Miss Christina and Miss Noor Alia. They are the BIM manager and the BIM lead for our company and our organization. Now, before I deep dive into our problem statement or what we want to achieve today and the presentation, allow me to have a quick introduction of our company. We are part of the bigger group of Busted Singapore and Busted Project. We deal mainly with buildings, industrial parks, space in Singapore, and we are also part developer. So we co-own and own some of the building in Singapore, industrial buildings. Now, having said that, I think where we want to deep dive right now, I think earlier on, Billy mentioned about BIM. Maybe I can iterate again that or correct that the BIM stands for Building Information Management or Building Information Model. It is a 3D representation of a digital building or digital model. I think if you guys know about smart cities and smart nation, I think this is where we are going moving forward, and digital twin is part of it. Now, so I'm going to share my screen. Just give me a second. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is who we are. You know, we are full-fledged integrated digital delivery, construction or builder, and also developer in Singapore. In-house capability backed by core engineering expertise. We are progressive in that sense. We intend to adopt future or industry 4.0 technology and augment this with our co-creation of smart and eco-sustainable future-ready development of building in that sense. I go back to our how might we. I think earlier on, chemistry, also Keith from chemistry mentioned about we go through our own design thinking process, and this is how we came about. So I think very user-centric, human-centric approach to this. So our how might we question is, how might we create a BIM integrated unified dashboard for automated reports, defect identification, and improved data sharing to various stakeholders, and while accurately tracking progress of project in real time. So what it means, you know, I love to say this, you know, pandemic, COVID-19 is actually our chief transformation officer. Because of COVID or pandemic, we accelerate a certain process. In this case, we have seen how pandemic actually pushed us to further accelerate some of our digital initiative and digital transformation. So we are not stopping. In fact, we are moving faster than we're supposed to. Now, so this is how might we. And the solution that we are looking into is an integrated platform. If you know that anyone in the construction or the building industry, we work a lot of our process in silo. And what we are trying to do here now is trying to integrate many fragmented data process needs to be connected. So this is where we come from. We want to make sure that all the data can be integrated into a single unified platform, with BIM as the core visualization platform, where we can see the progress of what is happening on site, pushing back the data back into the digital model or the building information model. Right, you do know right now, because of COVID-19, there's a lot of measures, be it on site or even in our office building. So some of this is trying to address some of those. We want to minimize physical interaction on site. And having said that, data collection, also using wearables, using technology such as 360 camera to capture some of those data collection on site. And then, even solution provider, you can propose different combination of technology, for example, laser scanning or video for video analytics, etc. And again, what we need here, we need to, I need to stress that right now we do have multiple platforms, but it's very silo, it's not integrated. This create coming from the user-centric or user experience in this case, where they raise a problem statement that they need to lock in into multiple platform and looking at different data or information. So this is where we are now, from site progress to defects, and even the building information model itself. So everyone is fragmented, every platform is silo. So if we are able to integrate some of this, having a real-time data collection, it can really help us to be more productive in that sense. Second, we want to have a big overview using a big data. And I think we are also moving into a data-driven decision, where we use data for visualization and also reporting and also storytelling to our stakeholder, in this case, to our client, our consultants, and even downstream to our subcontractors and vendors. And we are also using data to track performance of individual party who participate in all this data collection and site progress. Now, I move on into a persona and use case. In this case, for example, Jack, he's a site engineer. Right now, due to pandemic, again, our chief transformation officer, he's unable to do the site walk, as much as he should. But having said that, he still need to report back to stakeholder, in this case, the client or the client representative, to make sure that they understand what are the progress of the site and the overview of the site. So right now, if he can't do that, I think we are looking at how accurate real-time visualization a platform can allow him to use this platform to do a sharing, to collaborate and report back to the client and give him a holistic view on the progress via a centralized or unified dashboard. So this is persona one, Mr. Jack, the site engineer. Next, we have a BIM coordinator or BIM lead, Miss Riley. What she do most of the time, she manually look into a BIM model, and some of these she have no overview what's happening on site versus the virtual or digital model. So in that sense, to keep updating this model as what was built versus what was designed for, she have problem trying to achieve seamless data transfer and update of the model. So if we have a certain platform that allows us to recognize or even predict some issue and progress on site, this really help him or help her to be more predictive rather than reactive towards updating the model or even identifying some future potential issues within the model itself. Issues such as site coordination issues, design issues, or even compliance. We have Singapore, we are very well versed in complying to certain building guidelines. So that's very important for us. So this will really help her greatly in speeding up the checking through automation, and also having a single unified platform. Everybody is on the same page. To a certain extent, we may say it's a common data environment, and BIM as a single source of truth for the project stakeholder, in this case, everyone within the project, be it the project consultants, the project client, and even ourselves as the builder and the project management team, together with our colleague on the ground or on the field, they are able to access this platform. It should be a cloud-based, where they can access through their tablets, smartphone, and then this information and data can be used to share and collaborate with everyone across the board. So that's where we are now, and what we want to achieve. Hopefully, moving forward, we can use some of this data to do machine learning again, or use AI, artificial intelligence, for predictive learning, and also for our future data-driven decision making. So with that, I've come to the end of my presentation. I think you guys know the problem solver. If you have anything that is of your interest, feel free to reach out to me under the OIP platform. I think this is a very good platform for us to reach out to a lot of problem solution provider out there. We are not new. We are no stranger to OIP. We have actually participated in a few OIP programs, successfully implemented some of them even to a certain extent. So with that, Billy, I thank you for your time, and thank you everyone. If anyone have any question, feel free to ask me and my colleague right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Khalil. Let's wait just a little while to see whether we get any questions from the floor, because your topic is very fascinating.
Sure.
I'm just wondering, did Boosted consider using off the shelf or a customized sort of platform for this?
Good question, Billy. I think allow me to just take a step at this. We have, I think they are off-the-shelf product, but I think integration of multiple platforms that we are using right now, that's the key challenge. That's one. Second, not many BIM-centric, if I may say, where the digital model form as a single source of truth. And I think there are a few key elements here, or key challenges, if we were to use off-shelf product. Off-shelf product, very brand-centric, and in terms of interoperability of data between different native files or format, I think that's the key challenge. So that's why we are looking at a solution provider that is very neutral in terms of branding and also file format. It can be an open source, and we can integrate what we have currently right now.
Okay, that's a very good answer, Khalil. So thank you. I think your requirements are very similar to what Jamie from Philtech also showcased. They are looking for a single source of truth across different databases, different silos, information. So I think it's almost the same challenge that you're facing in a sense. So I believe that our community of 11,000 solvers will have proposals for your business challenge. So I look forward to the submissions as well. I think that there is one question from Anonymous. Okay, Khalil, would you need a cloud-based or an on-premise solution?
Good question. I think I iterate this. I would love to have a cloud-based platform. Why? Again, I think we are talking about a field platform. Just now I mentioned about site, construction site. On construction site, we don't have environment that allow us to have on-premise equipment. And again, at this point of time, our colleagues on site or in the field, they are equipped with iPads or tablets and even smartphone. Nowadays, it's a no-brainer. Most of our guys, they are using smartphone. Having access to a cloud-based platform or mobile app really makes sense for us in that sense.
Okay, very good answer there. Okay, one more question from Benjamin Tan. Benjamin says, "Hi, Khalil. What are the different existing software to be integrated?"
Good question. There's a few to name. Some of it are defects management software. I shall not disclose the brand. I think if we go into further discussion, I think we can disclose that. Some of it, one of it, the other one is a building information model, coordination, issue management. Beside that, we also have a few other data collections. Say, for example, a 360 camera platform that allows us to do comparison. And then we also use laser scanning to collect point cloud files. So these are some of the data collection platform that we have. I hope it answers your question. I would rather not share or disclose some of those platforms. But I'm happy to have a further discussion with him to if they want to further understand some of this platform.
Okay, and I welcome the questioner to actually submit the question on the OIP forum as well at www.openinnovation.sg for Khalil and his team to follow up as well. Okay, I think this is a very popular topic because we have another question just came in. So Khalil, I have to hold on to you for just a second more. Do we need to massage the data, for example, performing some transformation ETL, or do we visualize and load in friendly visuals? Khalil, do you understand this question?
Yeah. Okay. No, you don't have to massage. I think the data integrity is very critical to us. You don't have to massage that. We collect the data, and as long it can represent the actual progress and the actual visualization onto the digital model, we are fine with that. We don't need any massage in that sense. But perhaps a filtering option could be an option, but that could again depend on the need of the project and the project team itself.
Okay, thank you very much, Khalil, for a very, very fascinating presentation and Q&A. Thank you very much. I look forward to all the exciting submissions for your business challenge. Thank you.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was Khalil from Boosted sharing on his business challenge, which was BIM, or Building Information Management, Integrated Unified Dashboard for Workflow Optimization. Okay, we're going to move on now to our next speaker of the day with another exciting challenge on OIP. And this comes from IMAS. As you know, it's the Investment Management Association of Singapore, together with Fidelity International. And the title of the challenge is Creating Trust in Sustainable Investing with Blockchain Technology. Very, very exciting. And our speaker today will be Mr. Prasad Chandrasekhar. Hi, Prasad. He's the Global Head of Emerging Technology Strategy at Fidelity International. And since the start of 2020, he's been leading a multidisciplinary team at FIL. And and they're focusing on, having a bit of a, just lost my tracking for a little while. Apologies, my ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so Prasad leads a team that approach focusing on technology research to identify emerging trends, creating ecosystems for internal and external incubation of research teams, partnering with 8 Roads, FISV, FMR, and fintechs, and a lot of other tasks as well. And just a short word about FIL, or Fidelity International. It offers world-class investment solutions and retirement expertise to institutions, individuals, and advisors around the globe. And the business challenge is very interesting. They're basically looking for blockchain solutions, right, that can better establish the traceability of the companies that FIL invests in. I'd like to welcome Prasad to begin his presentation. Welcome, Prasad.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you. And good morning, good afternoon to everyone that's on the call. And it's a pleasure to be presenting to you today. As Billy introduced, Fidelity International, we are an investment management company. We offer investment solutions across individuals, institutions, and advisors. One of the things that has changed in the industry over the last few years, as many of you might have read in public press, everybody is interested in how we address the sustainability goals that have been published by the United Nations. Now, we are a firm that invests clients' money into companies. We would love to know how sustainable their practices are, whether their practices are actually built to last, and whether they have any kind of resilience across social and environmental changes that are happening around the world. Now, in order for us to do all of this, we require access to specific information, which I think recently got announced by the World Economic Forum as stakeholder capitalism metrics. The data points from all of these companies that subscribe to this become very important for us to consider in our investment thesis. Now, if we reflect back on the problem statement that's on the screen, when you have so many companies that have not been used to publishing those type of metrics, in the kind of environment that we are in. We're looking at whether a blockchain solution can help better establish the traceability. Where did the data come from across the supply chain? Now, if I take an example of, let us say, a palm oil manufacturer or a tea manufacturer, the company that we invest in may be the company that is actually selling the final product. But what happened to everything in the supply chain that went on before it? Where did the actual origin of that supply chain begin? How sustainable are the practices at that point in the supply chain? Because when you think of an investment model for a company, any impact to anywhere in that supply chain could potentially impact the value of the company we invested. It could also impact the sustainability quotient of that company that we invested. So how do we establish a trusted and traceable value chain of all of those data points in that supply chain that we are looking for? That's essentially what we are looking for in the problem statement, and that's essentially the solution that we would be looking into. Now, within this, what is it that we are specifically looking for? We are looking for companies that may have a product that is already ready, or a prototype is available on commercialized blockchain, where we can establish that very traceability that we were talking about now. Now, we need to be able to determine the sustainability aspects and some of the features that marry up with what a blockchain can provide, plus what we are actually looking for from the companies themselves, is that the data that is hosted on the blockchain becomes a single point of truth. Because you can imagine companies can publish their reports. There might be just their internal opinion about it. We may want that data to be verified by somebody else. And that verified information, if it is available for everybody to analyze on a distributed ledger, it becomes a single source of truth, so that we understand that this is the absolute truth about what that company has achieved in this particular space. We're looking for tokenization to a certain extent to incentivize the stakeholders to comply with these project goals, or for that matter, access the services that are provided by this. And the access could be to retrieve and review that verified information that has been posted on the blockchain. It also can reduce the reliance on intermediaries. Typically, this is a standard challenge with any value chain where the data providers are not standardized. And having a tokenized approach allows us to reduce that reliance. And as a consequence, it brings about a little bit more standardization. And with standardization, you can start to look at automating the various processes that live out there. We also are looking for some kind of a contract management system to verify and track the performance of valid binding versions of the smart contracts across the value chain for the stakeholders. The parties that are involved in this end-to-end chain know that those contracts are valid, which will allow for hopefully a more streamlined and transparent operations between each stage of the value chain. So for example, if a shipping company needs to partner with a logistic company and they know that the contracts that are established on this chain are all trusting and they're happy with what is happening, that allows for a great level of automation and a great level of speed as well in terms of how those operations are executed. Last but not the least, we look for the underlying governance and the alignment of the protocol layer that provides access to legitimate. This is kind of having established a single source of truth. It does give some legitimacy to the data, something that has been standardized, and the latest information on the project and all the stakeholders. So if someone comes looking for an information point on the blockchain, they all get what the latest information is, and they are able to actually include whatever details that they need to on this. Now, in terms of the solution itself, we don't have any restriction on where the problem solvers are and who may choose to apply for this challenge. The only thing is that I think you will understand a little bit more about this a little later on in this presentation. The solution should be capable of being demonstrated in Singapore. Now, and this is the reason why it needs to be demonstrated in Singapore. I think we have a 20,000 Singapore dollar prize money for each winner of this challenge. And this is done through the IMAS Digital Accelerator program. And as a consequence, that is something that is based out of Singapore, which is why we want it to be demonstrable in Singapore. the other advantage is the companies that choose to participate in this challenge can actually partner with FIL. We have been in this business for a very long time with deep industry knowledge, and we are also recognized for our commitment in sustainable investment. So we come with deep domain expertise. We come with having experimented with this in a few different areas. So we have an understanding of what may work, what may not work, what clients are actually looking for, and what might be appealing to the way the solution need to be created. We can offer the exposure to almost, I mean, I would put it as a global scene. So we don't invest in companies just in Asia or just in a specific country. Our investment function actually looks at companies globally. So we bring that expertise, but at the same time, that expertise can help in understanding the global potential of the solution and also what it might take to scale the solution on a global basis. So co-creating the solution that is applicable for not just one jurisdiction, but perhaps additional regulated environments and countries. Because one thing that we do know in this current state is that different countries have different approaches to some of these, and therefore we may need to address them in a very specific way for different jurisdictions. We offer the opportunity to collaborate with IMAS and reach a greater community because once we've done this through the Investment Management Association of Singapore, you have access to the other financial institutions that are out there as well. So we do believe that a solution of this nature will eventually be appealing to multiple financial organizations because everybody would be looking to respond to the sustainable goals that are being developed by the United Nations and now pretty much being accepted by many companies around the world in this particular domain. And last but not the least, there is an opportunity to pitch to an industry audience. The IMAS Digital Accelerator Program Showcase is for the middle of 2021. More details can be made available. I mean, they are available on their website as well, the URL for which is on this page. How do we evaluate the chosen solution? I think you might have seen a very similar evaluation criteria with some of the other presenters today. So I'll not go into enormous amounts of detail because I have been listening to the last 4 or 5, and I do think that the same criteria has been explained by others. But the same thing is important for us as well. What's the solution fit, right? I mean, does the proposed solution address the problem statement that we have in an effective manner? How ready is it? Can we take it to market today? Do you already have evidence that suggests that this can scale either in terms of volume or in terms of its global applicability? And what's the advantage the solution actually brings? I mean, what's the true innovation within the product? Does it actually make use of the new technologies in the market? And is there a potential for it to generate new intellectual property, which might give it an edge? And last but not the least, because we are from that industry, what are the key benefits this can offer to the asset management industry? Quite sometimes you may actually build a solution for one problem and then realize that it can apply to a few other use cases as well, because the underlying foundation is exactly the same for both. And last but not the least, we would look at the kind of the company it is itself. Does the product have user and revenue traction, just to see how viable it is, how much of a buy-in it already has in the marketplace, and get a feeling for the type of clients and use cases that you already support. That's about it. I think the last date for all the submissions is, I think, as some of the others have presented, it's the 30th of July. And if the IMDA extend the deadline, then we will absolutely respect that. But if that's the deadline, that's by when we will kind of have a cutoff and start evaluating the solutions. That was about it. I hope that was a very quick whiz through of the problem statement and what it is, what's in it for you. Quite open to questions now. I believe we have.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prasad. Yes, we are indeed ready for Q&A. It was a very, very clear and very concise presentation. We have our first question from the floor today, and it comes from Sheena. And Sheena is saying, "Hi, Prasad. Thank you for sharing. May I understand, for the stakeholders involved in the contract management solution, would Fidelity have the influence to have them onboarded, even if they are not directly under FIL's current portfolio, like a packaging company? Would you be able to answer this question?"
So I think it's a tricky one, but I'll try and answer it the best way that I can. The influence will probably happen through the company that we invest in. instead of directly with the packages. So at the end of the day, when we are an investor in a company, we obviously have some shareholder voting, and there are things that we could influence through that. And everybody knows now that big companies, they do need to kind of shine the right kind of light on the whole thing around sustainable investing. And as a consequence, there will be that amount of influence that we can get. But can we directly ask companies in the supply chain to do that? The level of influence there will not be the same as the level of influence we'll have with the company that we are investing in.
Okay, thank you. Sheena, I hope that answers your question. We have another question that just came in for Prasad, and it says, how do you propose to standardize the contracts?
This is going to be an area of evolution. I mean, we don't underestimate the challenge here, especially when the underlying data metrics and the way they are reported are yet to kind of evolve into a standardized model. The industry is in that stage where things are being accepted in terms of what the standards are, but how companies respond to that standard is still not fully mature. So there is an opportunity for us to be a thought leader as well as a solution leader in this space. We have internal thoughts on how those things could be standardized, but that's not been fully tested in the market. So that's one of the opportunities that the participant companies would have. You know, what would the shape of these standard contracts look like? There is an opportunity to co-develop that. And we have a few opinions of ours, but we are equally dependent on what the other partners bring to us. And I think collectively, we should be able to come up with something that is unique for the industry. It's not a mature market yet. So we have the opportunity to define some of that standardization. And that's where domain expertise from us, solution expertise from whoever we are partnering with, hopefully makes a great mix.
Sounds like a very good opportunity to actually standardize the market in that sense. Prasad, I do have one question from myself, just to check. I noticed that in your business challenge statement on the OIP website, you had a use case, a suggested use case in which a customer, an ESG investor who's a customer of FIL, actually uses the platform to check on the traceability of the products, the tea products of a company that he's interested in. So I just want to confirm, is this platform meant only for internal staff to use, or also for your customers as well? And if so, how will your customers access this platform?
So brilliant question, Billy. I think the idea is for this to be used both by internal, because we will have internal research analysts, we will have internal portfolio managers who would need to make investment decisions based on this data. So they will be accessing it absolutely. But it's equally important for our customers to trust us. When they said, Fidelity, we are giving you this much amount of money to invest on our behalf, and we want you to meet these sustainability goals, we can easily we can give them a report. Yes, we have met all those goals, and this is what we have done. But if the customers now have access to this platform through some kind of an MI or a reporting ecosystem, where they say, okay, you invested in company X at the top end of the chain, and you say that they met all the sustainability goals, looking through the value chain, through that web interface or MI or reporting, if they can say, okay, you made the decision here, I can see that, okay, there are 4 steps in this supply chain, and each of those supply chain have delivered the data sets to prove that they are in that range. And yes, you've made the correct decision. That gives confidence to our end investor, be they a pension fund, be they an investor like you and me, that, okay, they claim to be sustainable in their investment thesis, but I can see the proof as well. So that is us establishing complete transparency and trust with our customers. That's where a web interface, MI, some kind of reporting on that data set will be absolutely essential.
Okay, that sounds brilliant. Very exciting. Okay, Prasad, we have one more question from the floor, and this comes from Kimberly. And Kimberly is asking, are there any specific industries that you're specifically looking to start with in terms of establishing the traceability?
Very tricky question.
Well, your use case, you suggested the tea industry, so maybe that's one.
Correct. That's what I mean. So you need to look at the sectors and the industries where we have our initial use cases. So we've chosen to put the tea industry on the IMDA site as the initial sector and industry. But we also know that the palm oil sector, or for that matter, any natural resource sector is interesting. There are some sectors that have very interesting and complex supply chain. I would use car manufacturing as another example that we have looked into. So for instance, I mean, if you use Tesla as a classic case, they produce electric cars, which is supposed to be great for the environment. But is every element of their supply chain equally great for the environment, including the creation of the electric batteries? So I think over time, every sector will be applicable, but we have domain expertise in a few of these sectors. And we know that because we have done some non-blockchain work and research in those areas. We've given one example on the site. We've talked about a couple of more here. So we will be exploring those initial areas where we think there is immediate kind of impact. But over time, we would see this expanding to every industry and sector that we work with. It will be mostly in the manufacturing, logistics, and distribution areas, needless to say. But over time, I think it might go into some of the other sectors as well.
Thank you, Prasad. That's a very brilliant answer. I can imagine Mr. Elon Musk getting really excited about your platform once it's developed. And thank you very much, Prasad from Fidelity International. Thank you for your time. A great showcase of your business challenge. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prasad. Thank you.
Yes.
And ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our final presentation of the day. Something very exciting. I'm actually looking forward to it myself. This comes from Ferrero, and the business challenge is actually about the next generation interactive toys that engage and delight children. And I suppose I'm young enough to be considered a child because I love the Kinder Surprise and Kinder Joy products. Our next speaker is Mr. King Chew. He's an innovation specialist from the Singapore Innovation Center of Ferrero. And King has 10 plus years of industry experience in technology innovation, product development, and project management. And at Ferrero, he is part of an international team, right, that's responsible for scouting emerging or disruptive technologies for new product development. All right, so the secret here is that Kane is working to develop the next generation of smart toys for the Kinder Surprise and Joy range, right? And his focus is on new functional materials and low power electronics. So as you all know, right, Ferrero is an Italian manufacturer of chocolate confectionery products and very, very world famous, right? So, you know, you can think of Ferrero Rocher, for example. I'm making me hungry right now. So anyway, the challenge right now is about they're looking at how you can, you know, use technology, right, to enhance and create, you know, interactive toys. So I'm going to invite Keen right now to start his presentation. Welcome, Keen. Very good afternoon to you.
Hello.
And looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Billy. Can you hear me well enough?
Yes, I can see, and I can see your slides. Yeah, you're right now in the preview mode. You can actually launch your slides already. Yeah.
Okay. So
oh, beautiful. Thank you very much.
Is okay?
Yeah,
right.
It's great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks. So without further ado, thanks for the introduction. I'll jump straight into today's presentation and also the OIP challenge itself. Just a very quick background. I think Ferrero is not a company that is unfamiliar with most of you if you have eaten our products. We have 4 very major brands, Kinder, Rocher, Nutella, and the last one that many people are not aware of, Tic Tac, is actually part of the Ferrero family. So these 4 are our most basic, the most organic brands that started, many years ago. In fact, the company started in Elba, Italy in 1946 after the war. And our very first product was Nutella. And at that time, because of the economic situation, cocoa was in very short supply. And hence our founder came out with the idea to use hazelnut as a substitute, and it turns out to be very successful. And that's the story of Nutella and the rest of our products. So fast forward to today, we are slightly bigger now with 40,000 employees spread over 170 countries. In terms of the market share, we are number 3 worldwide in chocolate confectionery after Mondelez and Mars. So both are American and European brands as well. Okay, moving forward, I wanted to sort of also highlight what we define as product, because this will sort of pave the discussion towards what we are trying to achieve as well for toys, right? So using chocolate as an idea, Ferrero view product in a very different manner, in a sense that we see that the product is more than just the recipe, but it also needs to combine technology, packaging quality as well as innovation coming together to create a product that is not just visually attractive, but also very appealing to consumer. And that's why we spend a lot of efforts in R&D. And it's with that in mind that the Ferrero Innovation Center was set up in Singapore. It's the first dedicated R&D facility in the Asia Pacific region. It was set up very recently in 2017. That's our executive chairman, Giovanni Ferrero, is the third generation owner of the company. So just for an additional info, our innovation center is located along Science Park Drive. So if any of you are in the vicinity, you might be able to pass by. Over at the innovation center, we do research in a few areas as listed on the right-hand side. The first area is in raw materials. We are constantly looking for new raw materials that could go that could go into our new products, right? Not just cocoa, sugar, palm oil, but also new form of materials, raw materials that is indigenous to Asia. Secondly, we also look into product R&D, and product R&D probably is a bit wider in scope. So one of the product area would be new recipes, as mentioned earlier, and another area of product research is actually on the packaging itself. As we all know, Asia has a more tropical climate, and hence the chocolate do melt easily. So one of our team in Singapore looks into form of active packaging in order to keep the food fresher longer. We also have a team to look into consumer trend. This helps us to understand what's in vogue in the market today, what's the new kind of product that consumers are getting excited about. And at the same time, we do conduct focus groups as well as new product launch in a very low-key manner. So this we do soft launches in order to test the market, how they react to new products in this part of the world. Last but not least, open innovation, where I'm from. Well, so as the word suggests, is we look into a further innovation that could be applied in many different disciplines, and as well as a much longer horizon. So that's in terms of 5 to 10 years, right? In terms of open innovation, we have 3 very big strategic goals, right? First one, we talk about breakthrough innovation. So those are innovation that does not exist today, right? And so we want to see what could be the next, well, as what they would say in the industry, what is the next big thing, right? In 5 to 10 years, so that's breakthrough innovation. Obviously, we partner multiple entities to do our research collaboration. So it could be academic institutions, institutes of higher learning, but we also work very closely with both established companies, big multinationals, as well as startups. Right? So we are open to work with all sectors in a sense. Last but not least, we also have a very unique mandate here in Singapore. On the on the right, new toy generation, and that's the team that I'm from, and that's really the focus for today's discussion. Right. So not many. Well, Billy mentioned before that he has purchased our Kinder Surprise, Kinder Joy before, but not many people know that we actually produce many of the chocolate eggs that you see in the supermarket. In fact, just last year alone, we produced or sold more than 3 billion of Kinder Joy, Kinder Surprise. So that actually make us, well, we like to say the #1 toy producer in terms of the units of toys sold worldwide, right? So in line with Mattel and Lego on the left. Because we have a huge market, we work very closely with companies, various companies around the world, like Disney, Universal, DreamWorks. So those are our partners in terms of licensing, and to come up with new and fun toys for children. Now, earlier Billy mentioned that we are looking into new materials. Yes, and that's correct. And part of the broader mandate here is what we are here to do is we are trying to create the next generation of smart toys that can help our children learn and grow. So I really want to emphasize this slide because this is the question that my team is asking ourselves every day, as we approach our work and as we approach the new technology. All right, here's a very simple use case. Imagine, okay, a child purchase route should be a parent purchase a single Kinder Joy for his or her child, and after opening the chocolate egg, he finds an interactive audio toy that is able to engage him for continuous play with new functionality. So that's sort of the use case that we are envisioning, right? Obviously, in the photo here is a Kinder Surprise. Whereas in Singapore, most of you could be more familiar with Kinder Joy, which is also a chocolate egg, but it's divided into two halves, chocolate and toy on each side. Okay. Our problem statement that is specific to the challenge this year is, how can we incorporate new technologies or new material so as to generate audio sound electronically in the toy itself? So that's the problem statement, right? Pretty specific, but there's a reason for that, and I'll go into more details in the next few slides. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Now, here's some context, and the context applies to not just the OIP, but for all of our new toy generation, right? The functionalities, we want them to be able to embody what we call our core values, which is imagination, socializing, as well as learning. In terms of the criteria, our target age group is between 4 to 7, and whenever you look into new toys, we want the toy to be very intuitive, in the sense that once the child opens the egg and sees the toy, he or she would know how to play with it. Obviously, our product is called Kinder Surprise and Kinder Joy, so we hope that it does have that effect of giving he or she a surprise or joy. Now, size impression, what do I mean? As you know, the chocolate egg itself is very small, so that imposes constraint on the size of the toy. And we are constantly looking into different ways to increase the size of the toy, because that makes it easier for a young child to manipulate the toy. And this can be done by having multiple parts that the child can assemble. And last but not least, multi-layer play experience refers to the concept that the toy should have more than one functionality. So it shouldn't be just figurines. The figurine itself could have a different play function. So it could be, and in this case, what we are looking for in this challenge would be, so maybe it's a toy animal figurine, but it's able to generate sound or produce a sound. Further context now, key consideration with regards to what we are looking for. These are just some examples. New materials, we are constantly looking into new materials, not just for this challenge, but in terms of the new toy creation and new toy concept. Could be cellulose and could be functional polymers, because all our toys are mainly made from plastics. New technology is very broad, right? I just listed piezoelectric and triboelectric because these are two areas that we are already looking into. Dimension, I've mentioned earlier, is always a concern because we need to fit it well inside the packaging. Now, cost is something that is also unique for us because Kinder Joy and Kinder Surprise, you will notice they are sold in a supermarket, right? They are not sold in a toy store because it is classified as a chocolate product. So that means that in terms of the pricing, we are very sensitive to what other chocolate manufacturers are selling their products. Now in Singapore, Kinder Joy is sold at around SGD $2, depending on where you are getting it from. So the selling price itself does impact our overall cost structure. Last but not least, safety. Safety is very important. It's of paramount importance to us, and I cannot stress that enough, because we do subject all our toys design and prototype to very stringent checks as part of an international toy standard in the European Union called EN 71. Okay, now specifically, what are we looking for as part of the challenge? We hope to have a prototype solution that's able to generate audible sound in the indoor environment at a distance at around 60 cm. So that's probably the distance between the child and the floor where he's playing, or maybe from the table itself. Obviously, we require it to be functional, and so it needs to consume low current at a voltage of around 2 volt DC and not AC. It needs to fit inside our toy. So as a reference, right, the dinosaur is just given a reference, right? So this is sort of the typically the size of our toy in terms of the dimension. But obviously each year we have many different toys, up to 500 different toys a year. So our toys do come in all shapes and sizes. You just need to Google and you'll be able to find them. In terms of the so we need the solution to be scalable as well, because as mentioned, we do sell many eggs every year, 3 billion. So our production production batch is very large for each toy itself. So it's in the orders of millions. And so we need that scalability to be compatible with our selling price. Last but not least, again, I stress on the safety. In this case, the materials must be 100% safe. And when I mean 100% safe, I mean that it should be safe for the child, because even if the child would sometime put the toy in his or her mouth, it should be safe for that purpose as well. Okay, so I come to my last slide already. So we're offering $25,000 to help with the prototyping project, and but I also want to highlight that this is not just for us, it's not just a prototyping project, but rather we are looking for a co-developer or a vendor that can help us work together with us in order to commercialize the solution, if it fits the criteria as mentioned earlier on. So with that, I've actually come to the end of the presentation, and yeah, happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Keen. A very interesting presentation, and we have questions for you. So I'd like to dive straight into the questions. This one comes from Ki Wei Liao, and Wei Liao says that he loves the Kinder Surprise and toys and grew up playing with them. So he also wanted to ask if there's a strict form factor and size limit for the toys and confectionery. Okay, that's one. And secondly, is Ferrero keen to explore advanced packaging manufacturing techniques or concepts such as dual-use reusable packaging? Keen, take it away.
Okay, so I think to unpack that, two questions, right, in terms of the dimension, right? So the dimension is very much fixed by the fact that the packaging is of a certain dimension, and we do have a small capsule, as you have seen earlier. So that's something that we need, is a constraint that we need to work around. In terms of the packaging solution, yes, as a company, as an innovation center, we are interested, but just not as part of this challenge. But you can easily find my email on LinkedIn, and you can message me separately if you would like to discuss more about the packaging solution. But for the context of the OIP this year, we are focusing on toys, and specifically on audio toys. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Keen. I'd like to invite Kiwei to also send in your questions to the OIP forum on our website, www.openinnovation.sg. Just look for the challenge by Ferrero, and then you can actually input your questions into the forum, and we'll get Keen and his team to reply to you as soon as possible. Okay, next question, or very interesting question from Anonymous, but basically is, would the power source need to be included in the overall cost consideration? Interesting question. Kane?
Yes, the overall power, the overall power cost of the, or what we call the power budget, needs to be considered in the overall pricing. But as part of the challenge, you do not need to look into the power solution because that's a separate area that we are looking into. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So
very good question.
Think of it as, sorry.
Yeah, please carry on, Kane. Sorry,
as
my apologies. Yeah.
No problem. So as a follow-up, think of this as a jigsaw puzzle, right? So we are looking for, here we are looking for the audio piece of the puzzle, and separately we are already working with our vendors to look into the power budget itself.
Okay, thank you, Keen. A very clear answer there. And a question from Rachel Yo, and she's saying, would Ferrero be able to share an estimation of the dimensions required? I think, Keen, they won't let you go without giving some sort of measurements, you know.
I wish I have the measurement at the top of my head, which I should, but I do have the comparison. So this is the size of our capsule. So the toy has to fit inside the capsule, right? If you do need the dimension, I'll be happy to write it down in the forum, right? There's a Q&A that I can input the answer. Yeah. So not to worry, the dimension is quite easily found online as well. Yeah.
Okay, I think, yes, I'm clearing the Q&A now. I think we have more or less answered all the questions so far from Ferrero. Unless anybody wants to submit a last minute question. If not, we can let Kane relax after this already. He doesn't have to answer any more of your tough questions. But basically, please feel free to post your questions on the OIP forum as well at our website, which is www.openinnovation.sg. Okay, Kane, I think you've answered all the questions very well. I think people are quite happy with it. So I think we can let you go off for the afternoon already. Thank you very much, Kane from Ferrero, for presenting on your Kinder challenge. And thank you very much, Kane. We hope to see you soon. Okay, I must note that today's challenges, right, all the business challenges offered today, right, the solutions that you're proposing will have global potential. You look at all the challenges today, right, you have the solution that is developed will probably have a market beyond the company that you're going to partner with, right? So basically, the solution is developed for, whether it's for, the IMAS, CSOP, or Phil, or even PhilTech, or even for Ferrero, right? The potential for these solutions, right, are global. You can actually market the solution to to other companies, to other regions as well beyond Singapore. So I think it's a very, very interesting point of open innovation that we are looking at developing solutions that can travel beyond Singapore. So once again, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today for Innovation Thursday on 24th of June. Today's topic has been operational streamlining. But before you go, I'd like to do a plug for next week's Innovation Thursday. I'd like to get my colleague, I'm here to show, yes. So for next week's Innovation Thursday on 1st July, the topic will be on broadcast media. So get ready for a whole host of exciting business challenges and problem statements from our partners in the broadcast media sector. So you can actually find out more by going to our YP website, as well as look out for our social media channels to promote this upcoming Innovation Thursday on 1st July. So thank you much, ladies and gentlemen. I think we've had a great time today with all our presenters. They have given you a lot of insights and a lot of information. And we wish you all the best in your proposals and submissions for Innovation Call 10 of IMDA's Open Innovation Platform. We look forward to seeing you next week at our next upcoming seminar with the subtitle of Broadcast Media. So we will see you again next Thursday, same time from 2 p.m. all the way to 5 p.m. This has been Billy from IMDA's Open Innovation team. We thank you very much for joining us today, and we will see you again next Thursday. Have a great weekend ahead. Bye-bye now.